Two new Mega Evolutions just dropped in the most recent Mega Dimension DLC trailer. There were a lot of cool things announced, but as a competitive based channel, I'm most hyped for the new Megas we're receiving. These are the Generation 3 Psychic type Chimecho and the Generation 9 Dragon Ice type Baxcalibur. You'll be able to Mega Evolve these Pokemon by unlocking that paywall for the game you already purchased. For Chimecho, it looks like it will be released with the DLC, while Baxcalibur will be available come Season 4 of Battle Club from playing ranked battles. But what we're really here for is speculating these Pokemon's competitive potential, mainly in predicting their new base stats, potential abilities, and new moves. So let's hop into the mon I'm most excited for, which is actually Mega Chimecho. Design-wise, Chimecho steals the show, looking like it's out to avenge all of its fallen comrades. And even with that simple basic smile on the main body, it still manages to look a little intimidating overall. It continues to lean heavily into its sound theme, with its smaller copies fluttering endlessly even when no wind is blowing. They are definitely going to do something sound based with this mon. Base Chimecho is by no means a good competitive Pokemon, which is a big reason I'm really excited for it to get a new Mega. Its Mono Psychic type doesn't do it a ton of favors, as that typing is a long ways from its Generation 1 glory, but it does have a nice ability in Levitate to give it some extra defensive utility. When it was released, it had less than impressive stats, being slow and frail, with only its decent 95 special attack being worthwhile. It did get some love in Generation 7 though, with a 30 point stat increase, raising its base HP from 65 to 75, along with 10 extra base points going into its defense and special defense to make it actually a good chunk bulkier. These Generation 7 buffs might turn out to be really significant now, especially since Mega Evolution doesn't add to the HP stat. When Chimecho Mega Evolves, it already gets a whole lot better by gaining the Steel typing. We've seen how defensively strong Pokemon like Metagross and Bronzong can be with this typing. Chimecho will lose its fighting resistance while gaining a fire and likely ground weakness, but in turn gets a neutrality to bug, immunity to poison, and new resistances to normal, flying, rock, steel, grass, ice, dragon, fairy, and is now quad resistant to psychic. While this already improves Chimecho heaps, we have 100 extra base stat points to work with when Mega Evolving. I really think they're going to go the route of slow, bulky attacker based on what we know so far. My prediction is a 40 base point increase in each defensive stat, 20 point boost to its special attack, the obligatory 10 base stat boost in its attack stat, and a 10 point decrease in its speed stat. This will make it a menacing setup sweeper that can be hard to break through. I really don't see them making this mon much faster, and think they instead will make it easier to handle by lowering its speed. When looking at its current moveset, Chimecho already gets a lot of great options for this new stat spread. It has Cosmic Power to further boost both Immaculate defenses, or it can go Calm Mind to boost its special attack and special defense. Chimecho sets itself apart from the other Psychic Steel types by having access to instant reliable recovery with Recover. The closest any other mon gets with this typing is Wish on Jirachi. This definitely opens up a competitive niche for Mega Chimecho. Stored power sets will have a field day, as even just setting up your cosmic powers will turn this into an incredibly strong move. In your last slot, I can imagine using Draining Kiss or Dazzling Gleam to hit dark types, with the former also providing longevity and the latter hitting harder and providing spread damage in doubles. You also have Energy Ball and even a move like Charge Beam as options that synergize well with this set. They also tease a potential new signature move. When Chimecho lets out a cry, the copies join in and resonate with it. As these cries overlap and reverberate, they form an intense sound wave attack. Now, I don't think they're bringing back Psywave, which this sort of sounds like, but rather a new sound-based signature move that I'm thinking will probably be Steel type, seeing as Chimecho currently has no Steel type moves in its arsenal, and without abilities in this game, they will need to give it something. It also seems like they might give Mega Chimecho its own signature ability that replaces Levitate when these Pokemon become available for competitive battling. They showed it using the incredibly strong Boom Burst in the trailer, which leads me to believe it will get a variation of Primarina's Liquid Voice ability. We're going to say this new ability will be called something along the lines of Metallic Voice, and will turn all Chimecho's sound-based moves into the Steel type. This gives it more Steel type options, as it now has Hyper Voice, Psychic Noise, Disarming Voice, Echoed Voice, Round, Snarl, Uproar, and Boom Burst at its disposal. At its 140 base power, I really don't see use for anything other than Boom Burst, with potential for Psychic Noise and Snarl to be used on more supportive sets. Metallic Voice would be a great offensive upgrade. You have a very strong secondary stab with no immunities besides soundproof Pokemon. Assuming Chimecho gains at least 20 points in special attack, a fully invested Boom Burst will be able to two-shot Pokemon like specially defensive Gliscor, while having a favorable chance to one-shot defensive versions after rocks. Mons that might think they can switch into it like Tank Chop are taking over 60% on swap-in, while resists like Golden Go will be taking around 40% as well. And I could very well be wrong and they give this Pokemon a bigger offensive boost, but I really think they're going to invest in its bulk a little bit more than its attack. I think Mega Chimecho definitely has potential if executed correctly, and I don't see it being a top tier threat, but it could be a sleeper bulky setup sweeper that becomes impossible to break through if you play around too long. It has the tools in its moveset, and I'm excited to see where they go with it. Moving on to the other Mega Evolution, we have Mega Baxcalibur, who definitely recommends you subscribe to the channel and like this video, by the way. Bax was a very shocking pick for a new Mega as a Gen 9 pseudo legendary. It doesn't seem next in line for a Mega Evolution, you know, while we still don't have a Mega Flygon yet, but it joins other fellow pseudos like T-Tar, Salamence, Metagross, Garchomp, and most recently Dragonite by taking its power to the next level with its own Mega Stone. And this is a proper Mega Evolution design, by having the appearance of putting the Pokemon in excruciating pain when Mega Evolving. Retaining its Dragon Ice typing, Mega Baxcalibur has a whole ass sword going through its body, which is obviously an homage to Excalibur being stuck in the stone, but has the nice twist of the blade coming out the top of the body to be used as a weapon. Stat wise, it's scary to think of what they'll do. This mon already has great HP, so that isn't an issue. Its attack is sky high, it has solid defenses, and a speed stat I feel keeps it from being completely busted. With Mega Evolution, there needs to be an overall increase of 100 base stat points, and this mon definitely looks more aggressive, powerful, and according to the info we have so far, can generate significantly more ice energy than before, while being able to use the blade's sheer weight to cleave practically anything in half or smash it to bits. This mon's going to be an absolute powerhouse, there's no doubt. I'm predicting a pretty reasonable stat spread on Mega Bax, more in line with the other pseudos. 40 points into its attack, 20 points into special attack, 15 points in each defense stat, and 10 points to its speed. I feel like this gives it a reasonable upgrade without making it too overbearing. I could also see this mon becoming slower with the extra weight of the blade. It wouldn't hurt it as much as it did Garchomp, since it already has a middling speed tier and access to boosting options like Dragon Dance and Scale Shot to help it out there. The ability is the tough part. You don't want to give up Thermal Exchange on a Pokemon who leans heavily into physical attack. Being able to swap in and get an attack boost from fire type attacks and be immune to burn heavily limits counterplay. Ideally, Bax keeps this ability when Mega Evolving, which is my hope and prediction, but I'm not too sure since Tyranitar is the only other pseudo-legendary to keep its ability when Mega Evolving. Sharpness looks fitting thematically, but has no actual synergy with this mon. It's possible it also gets a brand new ability, maybe boosting its Ice-type moves. I could also see an offensive ability like Sheer Force being added, which is kind of a side grade overall, but at least better than Sand Force on Mega Garchomp. Sacrificing loaded dice to run its Mega Stone makes its preferred ice attack in Icicle Spear pretty unreliable. With Sheer Force, it would switch to using Icicle Crash in singles, giving it a major power boost in exchange for its flinch chance. This would make Icicle Crash better in the scenario this mon loses speed as well. If you're Dragon Dancing up to be faster, you'll miss out on the flinch potential, but will likely just OHKO most things with that monster attack. The other main moves on Baxcalibur's sets, Glaive Rush and Earthquake aren't boosted by Sheer Force, which makes me iffy on this prediction since you think they would want to encourage its signature move more. I'm not sure if they'd be expecting people to want to switch over to using moves like Crunch and Iron Head to take advantage of this ability. Sheer Force does allow the existence of mix sets, assuming they do give this mon a decent boost in special attack, as your Ice Beams, Blizzards, and Freeze Dries get incredibly strong. It's definitely very similar to Kieran Black still, which is why I think it might just stick with Thermal Exchange to help differentiate itself. It getting a little faster in Mega form while having some better physical attacking options may let it stand out because it's definitely going to be Ubers, at the very least by technicality, but let's hope it can do something cool with its new Mega. Those are my initial predictions for these new Megas, but what do you see happening with them, and which one are you more excited for? I'm definitely on Team Chimecho, since it's great when they show some love to a Pokemon who truly needs it. Mega Baxcalibur is cool, but I really think there are so many better candidates for a new Mega, so I'm not as hyped on that one. If you liked the video, remember to subscribe to the channel and never miss out on competitive Pokemon discussion videos like this one where I predict which abilities the other new Mega Pokemon will receive. Thanks for watching, buds, and I'll see you in the next one.